Hello and welcome everyone to another amazing roundtable. And in this panel, we're going to be talking about smart campuses, the future of educational institutes. And I'm very excited to talk about this because I actually live near Cambridge. So, and apparently my mic is very loud, so I've just turned that down a little bit. And yeah, we already have an amazing panel lined up with us today. We've got David, Alaz, David, and Tess. David, if you could just mute your microphone, please, that'd be really much appreciated. And we'll start with Tess. We'll get an introduction from yourself first, and then we'll go over to David, Alaz, and then David. So, Tess, over to you. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Welcome to everyone. I'm Tess McKinney. I'm the leader behind X Renegades. What we do is we help education and healthcare implement virtual reality and immersive technologies. We also help small XR businesses with their LinkedIn or social media marketing, as well as headset setup for $50 per headset. So I'm happy to be here and happy to talk about education.
It's great to have you with us, Tess. Thank you so much for joining us. Alice, if you can mute your microphone just for a second.
Yes.
I'll go to David.
Yes.
David, can you unmute your microphone and just give us a 30-second introduction? Alice, if you can mute your microphone, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm David. I'm a CEO at Compass AI. So Compass AI is a learning experience platform that helps people get into tech easily, right? So we help with personalized recommendation and resources for tech enthusiasts who are struggling to get into tech. So it's an AI who is your chat buddy, who is your assistant that could actually help your transition into tech, smooth. And I also own about 10 years of experience, working in AI as well. So yeah, thank you. And
amazing
chat as well.
Thank you so much for joining us, David. Pleasure having you with us. Alaz, over to you. A quick 30-second introduction from yourself, and then we'll head over to David next. If you want to unmute your microphone now, then you can speak.
Yeah, sure. Now, how is it right now?
Yeah, you can speak now. Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much. It's Alaz Han. Actually, I am the learning and development lead at GatherVerse. We are a technology company focusing on the learning industry and professional development through the immersive technologies and artificial intelligence. And I am so happy to being here. I hope I will share my experience and knowledge with you soon.
For sure. Thank you very much, Alaz, for joining us. And if you could just mute your microphone once again, because what we do is we pass the microphone around to people. So if you could mute your microphone once you finish talking, that would be great, Alaz. Thank you so much. David, over to you. Welcome.
Hi, my name is David Benjamin, and I am an author of the MetaWeb book. It's called The MetaWeb, The Next Level of the Internet. And I'm also founder of Bridget DAO and a council member. A lot of my focus is on how we can transform the internet experience by having a meta layer on top of the content layer that we're used to.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us, David. And I noticed you've got Web4 Foundation as well. Is that correct? Is that's your company as well, David? If you can just unmute your microphone quickly. Oh. No, he's just disconnected. All right, and Catherine, over to you. Welcome. Quick 30-second introduction from yourself, and then we'll get straight into the questions. So please introduce yourself, Catherine.
Hi, my name is Catherine Kalila Rice. I'm a founder of Kalila.xyz. I'm an artist. I'm a student. I'm a technologist. And much of the work that I do, I use technology to help people communicate better, to learn more of the soft skills about empathy and different experiences. My team and I work on different projects using virtual reality, metaverse, 360 film and photography, and there's a bit of automation AI in that as well. So that's a little bit of what I do. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Catherine. It sounds like you're first at hand there using the AI systems and everything like that. So from a student's point of view, it'll be very interesting to have those discussions with yourself. And Majitsu, you have just joined us at the right time. So welcome. Could you give us a 30-second introduction from yourself of, who you are and what you do?
All right, thank you so much. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Welcome to the show.
My name is Majizu. Thank you so much. My name is Majizu Daniel Moses. I'm the Executive Director of Africa Tech for Development Initiative. At the Africa Tech for Development Initiative, we are trying to advance human-centered, responsible, and ethical artificial intelligence and ensure that we ensure the usage of global tech for social good. We're also trying to bridge as much as possible the inclusion gap by carrying out modalities in place to ensure that marginalized communities are part of the conversation in tech and artificial intelligence, as well as ensuring that we create a sustainable development afterthought whereby tech can not just be usable but sustainable and to advance global collaborations in the areas of research for emerging tech frontiers. And these are many more of what we do at the Africa Tech for Development Initiative by ensuring that global communities in the South, global South, are part of the conversations on artificial intelligence and also contribute their quota towards the growth and development of research in AI.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going
to
do our very first question. Also, Majitsu, sorry, is that how you're saying your name? Is it Majitsu? Majitsu?
Majitsu.
Yeah, Majitsu, if you could just mute your microphone. What we do is, as we ask questions, we bring people in at certain times, and they come in and join the discussion. So if you could just mute your microphone, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so the first question is, which emerging technologies are transforming learning experiences on smart campuses? Now, Catherine, we're going to start with you because I'm so intrigued to hear the student side on this and what you're doing over that side. So we'll bring you in first on this, and then we also will head over to Alaz after as well. So, Catherine, if you could just unmute your microphone, and which emerging technologies are transforming learning experiences on smart campuses? So please jump in.
Yeah, so from what I gather, so I'm currently a student at Hillsborough Community College in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
And they have this past semester they added a degree on artificial intelligence, and what it basically is computer science, but with some of the vision learning and some of the things that you would normally learn at a PhD level.
Okay.
But at an undergraduate community college or junior or sophomore level. So you have more probability, more I think more statistics. And I think much of that has happened mostly because there's so many programs and so many things that are out here now when it comes to automation that much of our learning has been done outside of the educational environment. Most of it has been done, by people just tinkering around, maybe on like GitHub or like finding different projects to work on and then teaching themselves R, or using things like edX to take different college courses. And I think now at a community college level, there are more people taking those concepts and making it more accessible to where people don't have to wait until they enter PhD programs to start programming in AI. So that's what I've seen when it comes to the future of it. And it's one reason why I've chosen to go back to school and get my degree in it, because I'm one of those people that was able to start projects and start companies without finishing a formal college degree. But now I think colleges are trying to catch up to some of that. And so that's what I've been seeing.
That's so interesting, Catherine. Thank you very much for sharing us that. I think it's so important that AI is taught even at early stages, right? Even even potentially kindergarten if they possibly can. That might be too young, but the point is the earlier that they get used to using AI, the better. And I definitely think that as AI becomes every part of our everyday lives, and also used for research purposes, whether it's for submitting like exam answers, etc. I do think that is important to be learned, because otherwise a lot of the people are going to be left behind. You could potentially lose your job. Like, there's a lot of things that could happen. You might not even be able to get a job, right, if you don't even pass your college and stuff. So there's a lot at play here. And I definitely think what you said is very important. So I'm glad to hear that that's happening at your college, Catherine. Alaz, over to you. What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you so much for the question, Russell. So actually, when I think about what Catherine said, is I totally agree that AI-powered tools are so important when we are transforming learning experiences. But if we would like to talk about the learning experiences, we need to be on the same page with the experiential learning methodologies and gamified learning experiences. So at GatherVerse, we are all about like XR and AI powered learning ecosystem. That what we would like to achieve at the end, and we need to think about that this at the end process for the learning ecosystem. So we are thinking about that like XR and AI and everything has to be collectively working for the transforming the learning experiences, because this is not just about learning. We believe that it's about living the learning experiences. We are like, for example, we are producing the learning management system for the adult learners, but we have to focus on that, how we can bring the group dynamics and learning experiences if we would like to achieve the soft skills at the end of the day. So that's why I believe the power of that's all immersive technologies, and of course with the AI powered learning ecosystems.
Man, that's amazing. It's good to hear that the gamification is being incorporated as well, because that's absolutely important. If you get rewarded for engaging in different learning activities, and you can earn even a token from that, or a cryptocurrency, or anything along those sort of lines, that I think that's definitely important, adding that gamification layer. And I know we could mostly talk about this topic quite a while, because obviously we've got emerging technologies. We haven't even touched blockchain, NFTs, all the other emerging technologies that are out there too. DAOs, as David's saying. So there's a lot of different emerging technologies that we could definitely get into on this question, and I'm sure we could speak about this all day. But there's a lot of other questions to go through, and also I do want to get David and Majitsu in on the conversation too. So my next question, which is, how can students influence the implementation of smart campuses to better meet their learning needs? David, I'll bring you on this question, and it'll be a very interesting question to answer. Oh, you have frozen by the looks of it. No, you're back again.
Oh, hey, Russell. Say the question again. How can students impact their learning?
How can students influence the implementation of smart campuses to better meet their learning needs?
Well, that's a question I haven't thought of before, but I will say the first thing is for students to actually get acquainted with what their learning needs are. And I believe in this near future, we'll probably be very much assisted by AI on that. And you can actually cobble it together right now using ChatGPT or one of the other models, Claude, etc., and go through your interests, put your interests in, put some of your goals, and then ask the AI what the learning objectives. So I would suggest starting there as one area.
Your video is.
The other one would be
Sorry, David, just to jump in. Your video is breaking up there. So, yeah, Majitsu, I hand the question over to you. What can students influence? How can students influence the implementation of smart campuses to better meet their learning needs?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. I think I, for one, personally believe that students have a very active role to play in the implementation of smart campuses. I believe a synergy and the student union government. Most universities have the student union government, and together they can be able to pull through, their analogy of what the smart campus will look like. They can also be able to petition the universities to ensure the adoption of smart campuses. They can lead a very, very important role in adoption of policies that can guarantee smart campuses as well. And they can also influence decisions by the university authorities to ensure that these smart campuses are not just set up, but are set up in line with the learning models that's favorable and convenient to the students. So they have a very active role to play in terms of influencing university policies, in terms of also being creative. I think students can also form an AI club or a smart campus interest club to see how they can diversify their interests and bring out innovations to advance more breaking grounds on the smart campuses. So students have a very active role to play in the adoption of smart campuses in various universities.
Do you this is a bit of off topic, but do you think also teachers also play an important role too, or do you think it's more students?
I think a collaborative approach will do.
Collaborative
the
approach.
Students need to, the students need to understand, put forward what they want in the smart campuses, and also teachers who are the brainwork behind the educational materials also need to collaborate with the students to understand, because what smart campuses entail is more or less personalized learning. So without a smooth collaboration between teachers and students, I don't think the framework can be oiled well, it can function well. So teachers have a good role to play as well as the students.
Thank you for sharing that, Majitsu. And I 100% agree with you on all of what you said there. And David, I want to bring you on this question as well. What are your thoughts on all this as well? And what are your thoughts on what Majitsu said also?
Yeah, very well said. I think I'd like to also point to where you said, students can actually form focus groups and things like that. Because I think that's pretty much, and also joint research projects as well. Time to time, these AI institutions approach universities just to get to learn about, what would you love to do. So students can join in on focus groups as well as join in on research projects, and as Majidu said, right, join clubs as well, right? So, and I think that would be a major role, in crafting a good solution for them, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%. I could virtually talk about this question all day, but we've got to move on to the next question, which is how does smart campuses disrupt social interactions among students? Now, I think this is a very interesting question. When I first saw this, I was like, that gets me thinking a little bit, especially about Cambridge University and all that. So, Tess, I'll bring you on this question. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's, kind of going to the other question. Not a lot of schools are smart campuses. Some are not. Some are not fully integrated with, immersive learning and immersive situations, especially social interactions. But those that have the digital twins, that you can go and meet with people from all over the world who are actually attending your school that you may not know about, or being able to go into your digital twin and looking around for those kinds of interactions that you may not have because you're at a far site campus, or you live in Europe and you're attending a school in America. Those are the kinds of things that will help with that. And now it's not face to face anymore. You can get in a headset and have your entire class schedule in that headset, and still interact with your class and still take those classes. So I think, it's definitely going to change the way that we teach. I hope for the better. I know people are very worried about having not as many professors, there's not as many teachers, and so we're not hiring people, but there's still a need. It's just, you need to change your mindset as a teacher. Like, what are you offering, or what are you learning? Kind of like what Catherine said, what are you learning to get there? And to make sure that you're on the cutting edge of all this kind of technology to make it better for your students all around the world.
Yeah, no, I think smart campuses are going to be so important moving forward.
For sure.
It's just the reality and the truth. Obviously, we want to put humanity first at all times, but we also need that sort of educational factor and the smart campuses to that. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, of course, but
Right.
obviously always humanity first. I believe that 100%. So and Lynn just messaged in, said great panel discussion so far. Thanks, Lynn. Thank you very much, Tess. And also Naha said loving this, thanks so much. So we're getting a few comments interested in our conversation, which is amazing to see. Which brings me on to my next question, which is, in what ways can smart campuses improve learners' well-being? Whew, tough question. Who wants to have a go at this one? Yeah, you want to go back in again, Tess? And Alice? Okay, all right, over to you, Tess, and then we'll go to you.
Yeah.
Alice.
So I work with a lot of companies who are kind of on the well-being app side. There's lots of people who are stressed out, or who maybe need to talk to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but they don't have time, or they don't have the opportunity, or that kind of stuff that doesn't present itself. But with a smart campus, you can have different applications. I mean, I use a well-being app every day. It's
wow.
Relay, and it's fantastic. It's in VR, so I can go in VR if I need to, or I can go on my phone. So it's not a lot of those companies out there, don't have, they're not just strictly one, it's not strictly to your computer. There's like a meeting group that's really nice in VR that you can go and you can meet people because you're, say, a lonely student and you don't know how to go out and meet people, because we're getting into that kind of social dynamic.
Yeah.
Where maybe they just don't know anyone on campus. So this is an easy way to go in as a avatar or as your own NFT and kind of walk around a space and at least introduce yourself, but be able to talk to someone without, endangering your well-being. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of those kinds of apps that I think, smart campuses will help learners with. I have K-12 schools who use a well-being app every morning just to get their kids ready for the day.
Oh, that's
So,
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of
That is
fun.
very interesting. Okay. I mean, at least they're not on TikTok, I guess. I'm flicking
Right.
through going, ah.
It's something else. It's something else to make their brain maybe not stressed out about a test, or stressed out about the day, and they can kind of relax and forget kind of whatever happened this morning, and then go from there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I hear so many things about TikTok and Instagram. I mean, TikTok's the worst. What do they call it? TikTok brain and stuff like that. And I'm, yeah. But anyway, no, I completely agree with you, Tess, and I love that. I love the fact that that's a very interesting use case, actually. Alaz, over to you. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so for this question, I would like to start with my psychologist background because I'm an organizational psychologist at the same time.
Oh, okay. We're finding something else out. Okay, all right.
So when I think about that question, I would like to be honest to myself first of all. So we believe the power of the co-creation in the session, in the learning design. So when we think about the VR or any kind of AI driven tools, that we can think about that like in the perspective of the well-being, that smart campuses can be game changer, because when we are talking about the experiential learning, that says that like we can practice with the any kind of tools, that because while we are designing that kind of trainings, let's say we are putting the lots of like real scenarios, practices, and like how to transform that information into real life. So when I think about it as a psychologist, like just instead of the screening the TikTok all day, I'm just like wearing my VR and doing the physical activities as well. Even like when I playing the game or testing our laboratories or any kind of events. But if we would like to talk about the learning experiences, of course, trainers can design that like to boost the well-being of the participants, because in the right design, digital tools, any kind of digital tools that use, can be foster the sense of community between the students as well.
That's interesting. That is really interesting, Alice. Man, why didn't you tell us that you was a psychologist before?
That's a hidden idea that I'm just using as a like kind of magic.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Alaz. Thank you so much.
Oh, welcome.
Okay, on to the next question. And this is an interesting question as well. What are the privacy and security risks of AI on smart canvases for students? Now, this is a big question, and this is something that actually concerns me as well. But David and Majitsu will bring you in on this. And David, hopefully your internet is good now.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, awesome.
Well, when you're talking about a smart campus, there's all kinds of data that's going to be collected. And the main reason that they want to collect the data is so that.
Oh, we're having these issues again. Majitsu, over to you. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think in the development of the smart campuses, data is one of the foremost elements in development of these systems. And one of the privacy issues that will arise is the fact that most of the student data are being tracked by the school authorities, and it leads to privacy challenges because students' interaction between mediums are being monitored. Because I believe there's a central server to monitor these discussions, to monitor these interactions and all that. So it could lead to privacy issues. Their data could be shared without their consent and all that. So these are high impact privacy challenges that could arise in the use of smart campuses systems and all that. Aside that, we could have the issue of bias. There could be bias in getting their scorecard, their scores in place. For instance, there could be a central marker system in the smart campus system whereby students' results are being sent to. So there could be element of bias if there is no oversight function by humans and all that. So bias also comes into play. And that's why it's very important to ensure that these smart campuses are very well monitored and oversight function by way of human overhead monitoring the interpretation of this smart campuses. Aside that, we could have also the issue of discrimination in admitting students to these smart campuses. There could be a very high level of discrimination, and these are probably challenges that could lead to misuse of the smart campuses idea. So these are my few thoughts on the issue.
Yeah, no, you've brought up some really big points there. And David, I can see your head nodding. So I mean, let's get you in on this because you wanna go.
So yeah, definitely, I agree with what he has actually said. Pretty much. Another concern would be with cyber attacks, basically, because I think if the system is tracking students' behavior, the routine things like that, that could also prone to it could actually raise ethical concerns whereby you could have cyber attacks and the person would actually or the attacker would have access to some really concerning data about the behaviors of students. Another part, I was nodding my head pretty well, where it's about the discrimination as well, because the way system works is through patterns, right? So in a particular way, subconsciously, right, AI systems, I've written some algorithms in the past where, just even from not knowing, right, biases come into play, and that's because of the data. So if majority of the data is being trained by a particular, user group, then the other user group would actually, definitely be disadvantageous, right, in the process. So I think pretty much what institutions should do would be to enforce really strong data protection policies and also transparency regarding data use so that we can know that there are no potential misuse of personal information and potential breaches from cyber attacks. So I think these are the concerns I'd like to raise as well.
Yeah, I definitely think they should be putting up like firewalls and everything like that, right? SSLs, even two-factor authentication, like basically every single piece of security that you can possibly think of. They need to be incorporating all of that, so then that way, then it makes it as hard as possible for anyone to sort of hack the system or brute force it or DDoS or any of these sort of ways in which they can do that. And also, like with people using AI now as well, like people can use AI to DDoS. So if you think DDoSing or hacking or whatever was bad before, like think of it at an AI level. Like it's going to be even worse. So you're going to have AI to defend you, and yeah. So when it comes to security, it's a crazy topic to talk about, and I definitely I could quite easily dive into that side because that sort of stuff interests me actually. So, but anyway, next question, which is how can smart campuses promote more collaborative and interactive learning experience? Now, Catherine, if I remember correctly, you are using VR headsets, if I remember correct. Is that right?
Yes, I had a project that I started working on, I think maybe like 5 or so years ago.
Okay.
And the purpose of it was think of like Sims, but just everyday people and like first person Sims, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we put that in a college environment, right? So the purpose of college, the reason why it's more than just classes is that there's also a cultural integration too. When someone goes to college, like they for many people, it's their first time around people from different income levels or different races or different backgrounds. If we incorporate technology into that, if we do it correctly, it might be easier for people in college to get along with each other without facing hardship, right? So sometimes, I guess like the non-technical way of getting people to bond is sometimes making things difficult for them to do, and they have to figure out or problem solve something together, right?
Right.
When it comes to corporate education, we also use that same concept, and we call that team building.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to some of the things that I guess like I've been working on, and if we put it to college campuses, you can do that without having stressful real life scenarios. Like it's much better to face a stressful virtual scenario, or just to be able to walk in somebody else's shoes virtually without it having any real impacts in the real world.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so that way people can understand and have better empathy, or just learn to get along with people from all different backgrounds easier, and then that makes I think for better discussions when it comes to either like liberal arts subjects or like history subjects or like philosophy subjects, because now you have people with a broader background of I think of experiences. Even if those experiences are virtual, it still is somebody's experience that gives them I think a breadth of what to say, or you can have better conversations when you're in a college classroom, and then that improves learning. So
yeah, no, I mean that is very interesting. It's a very interesting use case as well in that sort of scenario, because I mean in a way it does, like in a way it doesn't replace real life, but in a way it does. So you can kind of like get that experience but at a minimal level, and then if you do face that in the real life in the future, then you know how to handle that because you might have potentially handled that in the virtual world in the metaverse. So I think there's a very interesting use case for that. And I'm yeah, thank you very much for sharing that, Catherine. And Tess, I could see you nodding throughout the entire time Catherine was talking. So please jump in if you wish to do so.
Yeah, I think there's lots of students who are like, and it's not just students, it's teachers too, who need to get in VR and be able to talk to each other about, interesting things, or to be able to see things. So I'm working on a project with the University of Texas, and we're going into empathy for cognitive diseases so that students or dental students can see those sort of kind of cognitive diseases, because we don't see those kinds of things because we don't have those cognitive diseases. So there's like ways where I think students are helping their campus, and this kind of goes into your next question, but kind of collaborate with their teachers, with the outside public, to help, the greater good, essentially. So
Yeah.
there's different ways um, you can help students, kind of empathy is a huge thing to be able to understand. And when you can't interact with someone because you maybe, live in a community that doesn't have mixed races or doesn't have, um, any of those kinds of differences, then it's hard when you move to college to be able to deal with that. You don't know how, and like it's not that you're biased or you have ethical issues. It's just that you've never experienced that. So this is a way that you can actually get into those kinds of situations, like Catherine was saying, and be able to experience that and be able to do it in a safe space. It's essentially a safe space. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, even if you have like strict parents, for example, where they don't
Right.
allow you to do anything, right?
Yeah.
You're like, you gotta be in at 8 o'clock now. Get in, right?
Yeah, or it's also a way to experience other degrees. So say your parents want you to be a doctor and that's all that you've ever known or whatever. There's a way
Oh
to go into
yeah,
art
yeah,
and do
yeah,
things and be able to experience that in life.
yeah. No, I completely agree, 100%. We don't have much time left because we're coming towards the end of the discussion, but we have about 3 or 4 questions left, so I'm going to fire through these. Lynn just messaged in saying, very informative discussion on smart campuses. Thank you very much, Lynn. And also, if you do want to get your comments in before we do finish the roundtable, then you can quickly send them in. Happy to read them throughout the panel discussion, of course. Right, so the next question, which is, how can smart campuses help students form stronger communities outside the classroom? So what we're going to do is we'll go one per question, and then if we have time at the end, we'll then have like a group discussion on some of the questions as well. So for this one, I'm going to hand this over to David, bring you on this discussion, and then what we'll do for the next question, or actually I don't know what the next question is, but depending on what the next question is, we'll then do one by one, and then at the end we'll do a group discussion. So David, over to you in this question.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Great question. So when I saw the question pop up, the first thing that came to mind was Facebook, right? Mark Zuckerberg, right? So what was the reason, Facebook was built in the very first place, right? It was
Right.
for students, right? Like, to connect. So I think something like this, right? So having, community platforms, basically social networks within the ecosystem. So not going to connect on Twitter or any other of these platforms, but like platforms that are based for they have a system already, so they can actually embed social networking platforms. They just take a book from what Mark Zuckerberg did basically, and I think that would do it. Another thing I want to also mention would be allowing them to connect to nature as well. So having really nice layouts, like campus layouts, like gardens and more of green areas could actually help them as well. Could just be relaxation spots, because I mean they'll be around computers all day. I mean even without smart campuses, we generally spend time around computers, right? They're now introducing smart campuses and all of that. So I think they will be able to connect in this. So it's just for this for a campus to have really nice layouts where people could just go there to chill out and also connect with other people. You know that okay, this zone we're not coming with gadgets, right? No VR gadgets here, but you're just here to to make to make stronger connections and all of that. So I think basically using the social network platform and also having a very good layout where students can come on to to interact physically, because I mean we can't actually neglect the need for physical interaction in anything basically. So I think that would literally be how I would advise that should go around basically.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Obviously, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or actually it's not Twitter anymore, it's X, isn't it? But anyway, the point is we all have all these different community discussions in various different places and even threads as well, actually. It's the best way for us to interact with each other and to socialize. And you can also do a decentralized social media platform, like using blockchain and stuff like that, but that's a whole nother thing. But the point is yeah, I completely agree with you, David. There needs to be some sort of place which people can go to have discussions and go backwards and forwards on, even if it's in the virtual world, potentially, even on the metaverse or something like that, which they can interact in, because obviously that's all about social interactions and stuff too. Seeing a different avatar and everything like that. So yeah, completely agree with you, David. So the next question, which is, what new roles could emerge for faculty in a smart campus environment? Now, I want to bring you on this, Tess, because I think you might have some information on this one. So this will be your question. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, digital content creation, having, like one teacher for like a whole, like 50 schools, you could have one teacher teaching Japanese, or you could have one teacher teaching, there's a lot of, like, in small and rural areas, there's not a lot of teachers who teach like Japanese or teach Spanish. And so it's very hard to find those people. So to be able to utilize a headset and be able to, I guess it's kind of like Zoom, but not having Zoom, and be able to walk around a space that potentially was created by that Japanese teacher, and having those kind of interactions, or bringing in other people. I know there's a couple of teachers who are actually sending 360 cameras out into the world just to get like live demos of like certain kinds of applications.
Oh, wow.
And you have to have those faculty who are very interested in this stuff, and becoming the champions, and being able to implement it, and being able to get it for their school. There's a lot that'll have to deal with IoT kind of networking, AI. I mean, like, there's a lot of things that faculty can be doing, just like students can be doing. They just need to go out and embrace this kind of stuff, or talk to us, talk to all of the experts on this call, and you know and find out more information. And like Catherine said, I think about the learning to utilize ChatGPT, and understanding kind of how it can help us. And I think David also said it. It's just understanding that kind of concept, to make or break your job, because that's the thing, is a lot of the jobs that we have now, like for faculty and teachers, won't exist in the future. So learning to pave the way forward, I think, is a benefit.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think about the whole sort of AI specialist role, right? Like, the AI specialist role is like something that's going to be important, whether you're in faculty, whether you're in, I don't know, a company, even corporate, etc. So there'll be, like you said, there will be certain roles which people need to embrace, and we'll have to be a part of. Welcome, Devin, by the way. And we're literally we've got like 6 minutes left. So Devin, I'm gonna have to literally just pull you straight onto one of these questions, because we've literally got 2 questions left as well. So this one's for you, which is, what are the challenges that smart campuses face in balancing sustainability efforts?
Thank you for having me, y'all. I do apologize. I was on an overnight project and
well, welcome.
No, absolutely. I didn't want to just say, you know what? No, I got in there last second.
Hey, better late than never. That's my sign.
Absolutely. Some challenges for smart campuses, and some of the things they may face sustainability wise.
Yes.
There could be a couple things.
Well, we don't have much time, so you'll have to keep it short.
I'll keep it short. One thing I'll say with the addition of advanced technology within campuses, I'd say energy consumption. Because
that's a good one.
there are new technologies, especially AI, consumes a lot of energy. So I would say there'd be jobs to monitor energy consumption versus energy efficiency, making sure we're running at compatible levels to where it's not overindulging or underindulging, if you will. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say, since
I know we didn't have much time. It's okay, Devin. Thank you for joining us anyway. At least you turned up. That's the main thing. So thank you for coming, attending, and being with us here on this panel today. So
absolutely, thank you.
And just to kind of back off to your point, Devin, the servers, chips, everything like that, it's going to consume a lot of power. AI needs constant training with data and everything like that. So there is going to be a lot of power consumption, and that's why the likes of like Google and Microsoft and everything, they're putting a lot of money into that side of things, just to have those power facilities to be able to power. I think one of them even bought like a whole solar system as well, which is like 300 acres or something crazy. Just all solar panels. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going off a bit off topic. So last question: how would the evolution of student experiences on smart campuses influence future educational frameworks? And I'm going to bring you on this one, Alaz, to finish off. And we've literally got 4 minutes. Well, actually got 2 minutes. But Alaz, quickly, what is your thoughts on this?
All right, thank you so much, Russell. So that was the question I have been looking for actually, because
great.
Because
have you got anything else to hide?
Exactly, because from my perspective, smart campuses are setting the stage for a whole new way of learning. We believe the power of the experiential learning and gamification at the same time. So that's why when we think about the future educational frameworks, student-driven, experience-rich educational models can be more popular, because we are so excited to show the frameworks that emphasize the experiential learning. Not just like students don't just consume the content, they are interact with it, or like debate it or apply it into real life. That's the main context we would like to focus on it for the future experiential context. So that's why we believe that power that can be education to be more adaptable or more inclusive, that's so important for the future, and also responsible for the individual needs, because that's also we believe that the co-creation with the students can be more effective for the future faculties. I believe the power of the companies are faster than the faculties, so that's why I see the light in the companies that can be faculty can adapt it for the educational context as well.
Catherine, can you just mute your microphone? We can hear the background. Catherine, can you mute your microphone? Alaz, yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying. And by the way, we literally got like less than a minute, but I agree with you 100%. I wish we can get into this conversation more. I wish, Devin, we could ask you questions as well, because I'm sure there's a lot for you to say. Majitsu, David, Tess, all amazing thoughts that you guys had. So thank you so much for joining us. And Catherine, it was so intriguing to hear the student side as well. So thank you so much for joining us as well. That's all we have time for today, and another amazing panel. And I'm afraid this is the end of the AI in Educational and Workforce Summit for day 1. But join us tomorrow for day 2. And yeah, that is it from me and the panel. Our Gather as well. And Christopher, over to you.